Hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I hope that you are having a great day. As you can see here, I am sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Saadiq, also known as the Black Yul Brenner. I should also say that the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we're great people, but we can always strive to do better. Like I said, big giant thank you, hello, and welcome to YouTube and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. And to my moderators, thank you so much for all that you do and holding down the comment section. Today, we're going to be talking about Trump saying that America will now control Venezuela after arresting President Nicolas Maduro and his wife. We'll get into the particulars of that and, just really have a conversation about it. Of course, as you guys know, we often drift to other things, but I'm so happy to be back here with Donovan and you all. Of course, you guys know that I was missing in action for a little bit due to the loss of my father. And I want to thank Donovan. He came to my father's janazah, which, was a Muslim funeral, for lack of better words. And it was, just was what it was, right? Very simple. Donovan will tell you, very simple. No bells, no whistles or anything like that. But, the good thing about it is there's a lot of people who showed up for the most part. And everyone had great things to say about my father. My father was 81 years old. He suffered from Parkinson's. He's had it for a while. And so ultimately, I guess that's kind of what, took his life, or whatever the case is. But one of the things that Brother Anzar, he's the one that did the eulogy for my father, of course, knew him very well. He said about me and my sister, of course, everybody else, he says, those are some strong sisters right there. Those are some strong sisters because, if you know anything about a janazah or anything like that, Muslims typically should be buried within 3 days. But because my father passed away the 22nd of December, so a couple days before Christmas, a lot of things were closed and just, a lot of things going on. And so a lot of things had to be done in a short amount of time. And I really should say that, my sister and my daughter, they worked like hell to get the obituary together and all of that. Of course, my dad being 81 years old, there's so many things that you could say. I had to step away from the obituary process because I wanted to write a book. And they're like, no, you can't. This is an obituary. This is not a novel, right? So my daughter and my sister handled that. And I should say, too, shout out to my daughter because she spent all of that time, which was her birthday as well, the 26th of December, making sure that the obituary was right and that we, just got everything done in a timely manner. Of course, his janazah was that following Monday. So really about, a week's time went by that he passed. But I just want to tell everybody, thank you so much for everybody who reached out, and left a comment with your heartfelt condolences. Yes, you guys know that I'm a daddy's girl. I will miss my father, but I also know that Allah's timing is perfect. There is no mistakes. Allah is the best knower. And God wanted it back, right? He wanted my dad's, back, or whatever the case is. And so that's the way it is. There's no grieving. Obviously, again, I will miss my father, but I always have memories of him. Somebody said in one of the comments, oh, I'm going to miss you talking about your dad. And I'm like, I'm not going to stop talking about my dad, But as I said, the last time I was on here, you honor somebody's life by speaking of them while they're here, right? So all the things that I've said about my dad and I will say about my father, he heard me say those things while he was alive. He know that he was loved dearly by everybody. And so, again, it's not a moment of sadness per se. It's a moment of celebration because I most people who know my dad, he know that he raised us tough and to understand things just the way it is, right? You can't undo yesterday. That was one of the things he always said. And with that, I cannot undo what happened. My dad spent a very good, lovely amount of time on earth. And no matter what my dad was going through, he smiled through it all. And he, was very jovial and things like that. So I just wanted to kind of, catch you guys up to speed. But I'm back in the saddle, new year, new focus and all of that. So again, thank you so much. And Donovan, how are you doing?
outside of the cold and the rain that we desperately need here in Southern California, it seems like when you guys came, the rain stopped, and then as soon as you guys left, it started back up again. So I don't know if that's your dad working his magic, but I just want to say this again for those that have never been to a Muslim ceremony of any capacity. If you don't know anything about Islam and you get an opportunity to go to one of these things, please do. It's going to open your understanding of that religion itself. Nobody's asking you to be a member. This is, opening your mind and seeing how other cultures and other religions do things. And the Janza was, it was amazing to me to see how simplified and simple it was. I did like the candy that was given at the end, and this candy symbolized the sweetness of the passing one's life. There was no casket diving. There was no twerking near the casket, all this crazy stuff we see on YouTube. So it was really good. And then at the end of it, it was good to see the family very humbled and very strong, because again, a lot of people, they lose their parent, their loved one, especially the moms. They just snap and they lose it. And the people that came and showed love at the funeral, and I'm not just saying this to gaslight Demetra and them up. It was amazing because the thing was so simple. It was very simple and predicated. But the thing was, you never know who these people may know, because as we're sitting there, anybody that wanted to speak was allowed to speak. And a person came up and started speaking. And unbeknownst to a lot of people in the audience, it was a California Assembly member who actually gave a, what do you call those things when they give recognition?
A proclamation.
A proclamation to a citizen. Now, I don't think they give those things out like M&M candies. You have to be something of significance for a assembly person to really do that. And an assembly member came out of her own time and effort, and she's known Demetra and them for years, whatever. And I don't think that's the main purpose. But if you've known Demetra's dad and the stories you hear about him, a lot of them were funny, but he was in the community, and he was in the community incognito. You know what I mean? He did things that you did not think he was behind, but he did do those things. And long story short, when we talk about back in the early days, Demetra, like if you ask Demetra's dad something about Islam or a certain situation, that he will sit there and preach and talk it for get ready for 4 hours. You might as well get your popcorn and sit down there, because those were true stories. Very, very true stories. So a great man is gone. And again, how many of you guys seen The Color Purple? Remember the part where the father was saying, your sister's getting married today? So now, Pops is gone, and now I guess I could have the young one now. So there's nothing keeping me from Demetra's sister. So I think that's a good thing. But in all seriousness, let's get back to the show here. Do us a favor. You see a scrolling banner at the bottom. If you guys want to donate, please, there's ways you can do that. Keep this show going. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, cash, money order, however you guys do it. Also, don't forget to download the African Diaspora News Channel app. You can get that on Google Play and the Apple Store. And again, this is a new year. We are 4 days into the new year, and drama has already started. To keep up with what is going on, you need to go into that African Diaspora News app, because not only are you going to get Demetra K, you're going to get Brother Phil Scott, Juan Gale. There's a whole bunch of stuff kicking off right now. And trust me, Somalis who aren't Black, according to what they're saying, there's a whole nother narrative they're trying to throw out there. Demetra, did you realize that they're trying to throw the white woman under the bus? And I'm going to say this for you people that listen to our show and other shows. This is the problem when you immigrate to the United States and you do not understand Black history and you don't bother to study it, because you're not going to hold a white person to the same accountability that they hold us to. And we've been saying that from day one. Like the Latins, we look at their numbers. Over 50% of them voted for Donald Trump. That could have made a difference in the election. So lot of stuff to get into here, so let's get into it. And again, Happy New Year to everybody. We thank you guys for the support and the love and the dedication that you guys give us day in, week out. You guys, trust me, we do recognize everything that you guys do.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, African Native, for that. That is a hell of a donation. So that I appreciate you dearly for that. I'm speechless, which I rarely am. Let's see who else is on here. Todd, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yes, I will always speak highly of my father. Hey, Al, how you doing? So that was a nice dedication you did, Donovan. You could get majorly paid for doing eulogies and public speaking. Well, you never know, right? Todd, how you doing? It says you people. Do you mean you people? I'm not sure what that means. And Brother Easy, how you doing? So, okay, let's go ahead and get into it for a second time. So, and this is actually Donovan's more field of expertise, but I'm going to fill it out just a little bit. So, of course, you guys may or may not know that yesterday, I guess around 4:30 in the morning here in the U.S., or whatever it is, there was an airstrike there in Venezuela, Caracas, I think that's how you say it to be exact, where President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, and it sounds like his son, were apprehended. Now, it sounds like there was an arrest warrant for him for a while now. And I'm going to show y'all a video due to him being a narco terrorist and a whole host of other things. This is what the accusation is. Also, it is said that he was illegally occupying the office of president there in Venezuela since about 2018. Sounds like he was just like, yeah, I'm here to stay type of thing. And so a lot of nations, they said 50 to be exact, did not recognize Nicolas Maduro as the president, as he, again, was accused of illegally occupying that seat. And so from that point, the United States, now Trump had already been talking about it, saying that they were going to go over there, put boots on the ground. About a week or so ago, they seized an oil tanker. And then when Trump was asked about it, he says, we're going to keep it, right? So he did make good on the promise of going over there. And I'm going to show y'all a video of him speaking and Marco Rubio. So here we go.
Run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years. So we are going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. And it has to be judicious because that's what we're all about. We want peace, liberty, and justice for the great people of Venezuela, and that includes many from Venezuela that are now living in the United States and want to go back to their country. It's their homeland. We can't take a chance that somebody else takes over Venezuela that doesn't have the good of the Venezuelan people in mind. We've had decades of that. So we're going to stay until such time as we're going to run it, essentially, until such time as a proper transition can take place.
But I want to be clear about one thing. Nicolas Maduro had multiple opportunities to avoid this. He was provided multiple very, very, very generous offers and chose instead to act like a wild man, chose instead to play around. And the result is what we saw tonight. The other message here is the following. You have a guy, like many people around the world, they like to play games. You have a guy who decides he's going to invite Iran into his country, is going to, do the confiscation of American oil companies, is going to flood our country with gang members, is going to take Americans prisoner and try to hold them for hostage and trade them like he was able to do with the Biden administration. Basically likes to play games all this time and thinks nothing's going to happen. And I hope what people now understand is that we have a president. The 47th president of the United States is not a game player. When he tells you that he's going to do something, when he tells you he's going to address a problem, he means it. He actions it. I can tell you, I've watched this process now for 14, 15 years, been around it. Everybody talks. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. When I get there, we're going to do this. We're going to take. This is a president of action. Like, I don't understand yet how they haven't figured this out. And now, if you don't know, now you know. Because this is the way it's going to play out. And I think people need to understand that this is not a president that just talks and does letters and press conferences. And, if he says he's serious about something, he means it. And this is something that was a direct threat to the national interest of the United States. And the president addressed it. This is a president of peace, by the way. I told you what I just said earlier. This guy had multiple opportunities to find his way somewhere else and figure out another. He could have been living somewhere else right now, very happy, but instead he wanted to play big boy. And so now, he's got other sets of problems on his hands. And but I think that the message here should be for the world. Look, the president doesn't go out looking for people to pick fights with. He's not generally wants to get along with everybody. We'll talk and meet with anybody, but don't play games. Don't play games with this president's in office because it's not going to turn out well. And so I hope that I guess. That lesson was learned last night, and we hope it'll be instructive moving forward.
Okay, so again, that was Trump and Marco Rubio. As Trump basically saying is, we're going to run Venezuela until somebody we deem to be acceptable comes along and all of that. Of course, again, that was Marco Rubio saying, hey, you know, FAFO, for lack of better words, with Trump. He's going to do what he says. You know, Maduro could have left a long time ago, but he chose not to. He also said that Trump is a president of peace. But he's been playing Battleship Galactica, if you will, with fishing boats and things like that, claiming that they were drug boats from Venezuela. Y'all can do what y'all want with that, but again, call him a president of peace. Now, it should also be said that, man, we've heard of this term a lot. Even Bernie Sanders used it, and they invoked the term Monroe Doctrine. But what Trump is actually doing is the Dunroe Doctrine, and it basically says this. Trump administration focusing on foreign policy in the Western Hemisphere. Now, that again is the Monroe Doctrine from James Monroe, the president in 1823, that basically said, hey, Europe, do not colonize any more of the West, and do not interfere. If you do, we will consider that a hostile act, right? So you got what you got. Do not come over here. And it sounds like they included some of Latin America as well. And so Trump, he's evoked that a lot, and he's kind of saying that they have the same doctrine. Of course, Trump seems like he's a little bit more about that life. I don't know exactly what they had going on in 1823, as I was not there. But they're basically, their goal is to protect the Western Hemisphere. And now Venezuela is in the Western Hemisphere. And so again, he's saying we're going to do what we got to do. Now, the Democrats are not happy. Specifically that of Chuck Schumer. He says that, and a lot of them have said it's illegal what he's doing, that he should have tapped into that of Congress, because you need Congress, for lack of better words. But if you read the Monroe Doctrine, it says you do, but then you don't really need to per certain things, right? So it's kind of iffy, if you will. But then a lot of them are also saying, who is he to be talking about he's going to run Venezuela? He's going to run Venezuela, but they're like, he can't even run the United States, right? United States of America is in shambles. The people here, the Americans rather, are going through it. Healthcare is skyrocketing and a whole host of other things. But now he's going to run Venezuela. Now, of course, there are a lot of Venezuelans that are ebullient, if you will, about the president there being seized and his wife arrested. They are now in New York. I guess they're going to be going through trial and all this other stuff. Now, this is just a tad bit of the celebration that's going on. All right, so let's remove them. As you saw, there are some people who are celebrating. Now, a lot of those people are celebrating because they said it's an end to a repressive dictatorship and the end of a humanitarian crisis. Of course, about 8 million Venezuelans have left Venezuela since 2000, right before Hugo Chavez, who was the president then, came into office. Of course, they were saying that the high inflation and just, you know, scarcity in food and a whole host of things caused those people to flee. A lot of people said that they were in danger and things like that. And then, of course, when he died, Maduro took over, and they felt like, I guess, he was continuing on what Hugo Chavez was doing. But then there's some people are like the United States, some people being Venezuelans. United States had no business poking their nose into what is going on in another country. Of course, they're saying things like gringo go home. You know, it's barbaric what they did. Sounds like there's quite a few people that died during those airstrikes and things like that, even though some people are saying that nobody was harmed. So like, depending on who you believe, right? Now, of course, there's a lot of people saying that Trump did what he did, the Trump administration, due to oil. right? Oil and gas, because Venezuela has, I guess, some of the verifiable largest oil reserve, I guess, in the world, is from what I understand. But then when you think about what the United States, the West, has done to other countries, right? Let's just put this up. You got Gaddafi there. He was labeled what? An evil dictator. So, of course, y'all know what they did to him under the Obama administration. And it said that the United States was the beneficiary of some of that oil and gas. Okay, now Saddam Hussein, of course, he was considered to be evil as well. And the United States is said to have benefited from some of the oil. And then now we have Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso. They're trying to label him a thief. Of course, y'all saw that one general, the black one, who sat up there and was saying, oh, he's stealing gold and this, that, and the other. He needs to basically, for lack of better words, be neutralized. And there's been many attempts on his life. But of course, you know that Burkina Faso has a lot of resources. Of course, France and other places in the West have been kicked out. And it sounds like Burkina Faso and some other African nations have said, okay, great, United States, y'all putting sanctions on us and saying that we can't come over there. Guess what? You can't come over here either, right? So we've seen the United States labeling other countries as evil and things like that. And I wish I would have put it up, but of course, y'all have seen the infamous clip of that of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan when he was having a conversation with Mike Wallace, when Mike Wallace tried to tell Farrakhan that Nigeria is the most corrupt, country on the planet. And then, of course, y'all saw Farrakhan say, how dare you? Who are you, the United States, to tell somebody that they corrupted all of the evilness and debauchery, for lack of better words, that you have going on? So we're going to have a conversation about that, Donovan. Different opinions. There's a lot of people who are happy and a lot of people who are unhappy. But I will say this, not too long ago, the United States, especially the Trump administration, was doing what? They labeled Venezuelans, especially over here, so dangerous and evil and this, that, and the other. But now they are going over there in the humanitarian crisis, trying to make life better for Venezuelans. So I guess, what do you believe? And I'll get to the comments as soon as Donovan's done.
All right, before we get started, the War Powers Resolution. The bill was introduced by Clement Zablocki, a Democratic congressman representing Wisconsin's 4th District. The bill had bipartisan support and was co-sponsored by a number of U.S. military veterans. The War Powers Resolution requires the president to notify Congress within 48 hours of committing armed forces to military action and forbids armed forces from remaining for more than 60 days. Now, if the Democrats and the Republicans have a problem with how the president utilizes that power that Congress gave him, why aren't they changing it? Read it to you right there in black and white. Basically, Congress has given up their right to the executive to go into these foreign wars or whatever. Why give them the power at all? Anytime the president needs to go into a country and attack it, he should have to go to Congress first, not after the fact. Once we're there, right? So, let's use our common sense with that, you guys. It makes no sense that I have to go to Demetra 3 days after I got with her sister for her approval, right? You see what I'm saying? That doesn't make sense, right? I've already got it, right? So I just want to say that real quick. But I know I'm kind of being funny, but you guys get the gist of what I'm saying. If they have such a problem with it, then Congress, do your damn job. Take that power away from the executive, make the law that he has to come to you first. But they don't do that. It's after the fact. So you're looking at Iraq 2.0.
Oh, and I want to say something. He did say that I would have said something, but I didn't want anything to leak. I would have.
Yeah, exactly. But the point is, though, he didn't break the law. That's my point. Regardless if he says something, if he wants to say something, it doesn't matter. They should say he has to come to them first. But that isn't the law. So you got Iraq 2.0, Manuel Noriega 2.0. Have you guys noticed that he can solve all these developing countries' problems by invading and taking over their country, but yet when it comes to white countries, he isn't so aggressive? Isn't that strange? We just keep sending money to the white countries and their presidents are buying properties and yachts and all this other stuff. And we're not huffing and puffing our chest about how they need to be peaceful, because I'm very sure the Russians and the Ukrainians, after what, 5-7 years of war, would like a little peace, a little calmness. 250,000 of them are right here in the United States. Do you guys see the political theater that we go through time and time again? They pick and choose who they want to be with and who they're against. I also want you guys to remember that when Maduro was disputed in his last election, it was the Democrats who were screaming that he needed to be removed. Isn't that strange? Now that Donald Trump removed him, if you believe it's legal or illegal, it doesn't matter. Now they're screaming, oh my God, Maduro needs to stay in power. Oh, it's illegal what we did. Well, you can't have it both ways. It is estimated that 300,000 Americans are killed by drugs in some sort of way. And I don't know if it's even Americans, but 300 people who reside in the United States are killed by these drugs that come out of these narco countries, one of them being Venezuela. Do you guys realize during the Civil War, 650,000 Americans were killed in a 4-5 year period of the Civil War? No war has more Americans being killed, but yet we lose 300,000 people who reside in the United States every year just due to drugs. What do you want to do? Do you want to solve the problem, or do you want to continue the problem? It's a mess out there, but I want to hear what you guys got to say. I just wanted to give you guys some context on that. And I want you guys to remember, we talk about Donald Trump. If you've got the Donald Trump derangement syndrome, that's okay. But just remember, there was another very popular president that did the exact same thing, and yet everybody's silent about it. Do you guys remember a guy named Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton in Libya? Who controls the oil out of Libya right now, you guys? Oh, that's right. It's a bunch of major American corporations, but that's okay because Obama and the Democrats did that. When I went into Afghanistan for the first time, and Mo Perspectives probably knows this, and you guys that are in the military knows this. Do you guys know what was the first thing that we secured going into Afghanistan? The northern fields is where I was at. We secured the oil reserves. So you have American troops that are there to preserve as mercenaries the corporation's interest in the oil reserves, and in Afghanistan, the poppy seed fields. A lot of you civilian people, you're not reading deep into this, and a lot of military people will tell you that. But when Barack Obama did the exact same thing, where was all this uproar about sovereignty and all this other stuff? Gaddafi's such a bad person. Was Gaddafi such a bad person? Wasn't it Gaddafi that was trying to get off of the gold standard and from the US dollar? Isn't it funny how he ended up dead? Deleted when he gave up his weapons of mass destruction, supposedly, and America was supposed to fund him in this stuff, and then they end up doing an uprising and getting rid of him. So now you got a Republican president that uses the same exact playbook, and it's a problem. What do you guys got to say about it?
Absolutely. So there's a lot of information going on here. And of course, we're going to have even more of a discussion. So now I can get into the comment section. Thunder, you says, correct me if I'm wrong, but going to another sovereign country and taking the sitting president and possible civilians unalive, this is illegal, right? If not considered an act of war. From what I understand, Donovan.
Yes, it is illegal. It is an act of war. But guess what? When you're the bully with the big stick, what are you going to do about it? You guys remember a guy named Teddy Roosevelt? What did he say? Speak softly and carry a big stick.
My mama said that.
Yeah. And notice, we don't bully China like that. We don't bully Russia like that. We do not mess with countries that know. And I think it's Malcolm X said this, or the Honorable Louis Farrakhan said it. I'm not sure which one of the Muslims said it, but he said that it's crazy to go to somebody non-violently and expect that person to be nonviolent. And then that's why they're still busting you up the head. But if you got a stick and I got a stick, there's more dialogue, there's more communication, because we know we both got sticks and there could be a lot of damage that's going to happen. This is why it is insane to go up to a man non-violently and he's got a club in his hand.
Absolutely. And I see a lot of people saying our gas price is going to go down now. I don't know. From what I saw, I don't know. We'll know when we know, right? Because usually they say, no, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to be affected. And you go to the gas station, gas is $7 a gallon. So I don't know. It just probably really remains to be seen. Some people say yeah. Some people say no. All that choice indulgence. How you doing? Says, what would China like? I'm not quite sure what that's in regards to, but again, y'all heard, I think it was Marco Rubio, a couple of people saying that China was, I guess, in bed with Venezuela. And, that was that seemed like a hostile act or whatever. But my thing is this, and maybe I just don't know enough. If it's Venezuela's oil, who was the United States to say who they can, do business with? How is that even considered a hostile act if you're talking about the Monroe or the Dunroe doctrine protecting the Western Hemisphere? How is that a threat to the United States? Because in another clip, I think it was today on Face the Nation, Marco Rubio was asked about the oil, and he says, "Oh, United States has plenty of oil. We don't need the oil." It's like, okay, so then why is it an issue then? Either you do or you don't. But then if you don't need the oil, then why did Trump say we're keeping the oil tanker?
Right. You guys got to understand. See, you got to read history. He that does not know history are doomed to repeat it. America, that's why the Monroe Doctrine was basically made, so that America, look at the history of America. I'm just going to say this, if you guys are interested. Go and look up the history of American intervention in the Western Hemisphere in Latin countries, and that will explain everything. We took over Hawaii under the same premise, basically, under these corporations. Go look this stuff up. We invaded Guatemala, Dominican Republic, Haiti, several countries under the basic same doctrines, and we dare any European power or Asian power to tell us that we can't.
Absolutely. Hey, Brother Jonah, how you doing? Hope you are doing well this fine Sunday evening. And Queen Mommy, you says, and we stole the oil. Yeah, well, I mean, especially recently, Trump says we're going to keep it, right? And now they're going to run Venezuela. Like, yeah, till we decide that there's somebody who could do it. It sounds like there's two women involved that could run the country. One of them won the Nobel Peace Prize, and she dedicated it to Trump. And now Trump is like, yeah, we keeping Venezuela. We keeping it till we decide. But my thing is, well, if you're deciding you're going to keep it, why would you give it away? Like, okay, here you go. So it sounds like it's a hostile takeover. And that somebody did mention, they're talking about going to get Greenland now. We want that.
They're not going to go against their European brethren. And again, what did we say when we invaded Iraq and we toppled Saddam Hussein? What was the hardest part? Who are we going to give it to? It's the same playbook, you guys. We keep calling for the same stuff.
Absolutely. Brother Sidney, how you doing? Says the war on drugs was a failure and removing him from office won't stop the drug addict. Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of people are like, come on, man. Y'all went and arrested Maduro due to accusing him of bringing drugs into the country. Now, of course, y'all heard that Trump is saying we're going to Mexico too because Claudia Sheinbaum, the president there, she doesn't have a control over the cartel. So they're going to go in there and the president of Mexico says, do not come over here. But Trump's like, yeah, we're going over there. So it's like, and all of that. But you're right. They're trying to blame the drug, I guess the opioid issue and things like that on Venezuela. And it's like, well, who we going to blame the crack epidemic on? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and piece this together, Demetri, and you guys at home listening. Piece this together. If we knock out the narcos in these foreign countries and we control the drug thing, what is so popular here in the United States at the state level? The weed shops. So now it's going to be legalized and they're going to control it. And guess who's going to make all the money? Big, bad Leroy White Brown. That's who's going to make all the money. The guy that's been making all the money from the get-go. You guys got to look at this thing. And I'm just speculating, but look at what history's shown us. There's a reason why they're targeting these certain groups and people to get in line. It's just a matter of time before the weed is legalized at the federal level. Trump has already re-regulated the weed number, whatever it is. I guess he declassified it to a lower charge or whatever it is. So everything is lining up.
Absolutely. And then who was the guy that Trump just pardoned, and he was a big time dope dealer? So he gave him a pardon. So a lot of people are like, it's not lining up, because now you done kicked in Maduro's door over being a narco terrorist, but then you pardon a narco terrorist, right, who was doing time. Forgive me, I don't know his name or whatever it is, but a lot of people are saying, yeah, the something in the milk ain't clean, because this particular dude that he pardoned was accused of doing the same thing. So what is it really about? Again, keeping in mind that Trump said we keeping the oil tankers, we gonna keep it. So is it about drugs or is it about something else? But the other thing too is they know we as Americans, we are so brainwashed. Donovan, we talk about the I just get my mind right on top of my tongue. It'll come back. The propaganda machine. It'll come to me.
Mockingbird.
I was thinking about MK Ultra, but I knew it wasn't that. Operation Mockingbird. We're so brainwashed. We believe any and everything that they tell us, right? Oh, he's a terrorist, oh, this, that, and the other. But then they know that, unfortunately, not us here, but a lot of people do not know how to do deductive reasoning or say, wait a minute, nah. If it's about the drugs, but you pardon somebody else who was found guilty as a narco terrorist, but then you went and got a narco terrorist, but you keeping the oil tanker, and now you running Venezuela, which has the largest oil reserve. What is it? See, they know we ain't gonna do that. They know a lot of people say, yeah, Trump or this, that, and the other. And again, yes, all the other administrations were saying that Maduro was a bad dude. If he really is, I don't know, because there's a lot of other people from Venezuela saying different things. They're okay with his presidency. So I don't know. You have to ask them. But you have to stop and do some thinking. We got to stop falling for the banana in the tailpipe, right? Well, if the government said it, it must be true. It's like, is it? How come it's an humanitarian crisis when it comes to other countries, but there's not a humanitarian crisis when there's people sleeping on the streets here? There's food insecurity here. You got Black folks who are being roughed up and unalived and all kind of things by police brutality, white supremacists, and a whole host of other things, right? You could go right now in your local neighborhood and see a humanitarian crisis going on, but yet somehow that doesn't count. So as a lot of y'all said, it's nothing but the United States being a big bad bully. But Queen Mommy, I think you said it, you've been saying it. It's time is up for America, and they know that. That's why they're doing the things that they're doing. And I listened to a great message from Student Minister Ishmael Muhammad today. And he was saying, hey, you ain't got to do nothing. Black folks, we ain't got to do nothing. Now we got to be, doing the stuff we're supposed to do, like the group economics and all that. But ain't nothing we got to do because their time is up and they know it, which is why they are continuing with the aggressions and things like that. So, yeah, you just got to kind of follow the breadcrumbs. So let's see here. Walt said a lot of military personnel were disillusioned when they found out why we went to Iraq and they had to guard the oil fields for Halliburton and Vice President Cheney. And he then went on to Gloria down to wherever he is last year. But but yeah, he got the contract, right, to go over there and clean up and all the other things. So yeah, follow the money. They don't give a damn about people. Again, if they gave a damn about people, you mean you're gonna step over the Americans and go help somebody else? How did that work out, Donovan? When Obama and Hillary and all of them sat in the Situation Room and watched them take out Muammar Gaddafi because it was a humanitarian issue. What's going on now? And Obama said it himself. It was one of the worst mistakes of his presidency is to not have a post plan after they took out Muammar Gaddafi.
Yep, there's actual slavery happening in Libya, and Italy is one of the biggest perpetrators of it, because that is where a lot of the Africans are trying to flee to. But they get to Italy. If Italy doesn't deport them back into Libya, they human traffic them within Italy and throughout Europe. Actual slavery is happening in Libya right now.
Right. But again, there's a lot of people like, oh, well, you know, Trump's doing what he had to do, or any president, right? Oh, because they were so mean to their people over there. And it's like, huh? Go to your local MLK Boulevard and see how mean those people are being treated. You know what I mean? But yet they telling you that you should have a bleeding heart. I'm not saying if there are some things that's going on in places that you shouldn't, but how is it that you got homeless people here? That is the most inhumane thing, to have to sleep on the street, right? Not have enough to eat, and what they consider to be the wealthiest, one of them, right? We know there's other factors, but they say, right, the wealthiest country in the world, you got homeless and hungry people. I think being hungry, especially as a child, is an inhumane thing, but no care for that. I mean, wait a minute, we just saw, now what is a couple weeks, months ago, where they was trying to say whether they was going to give people food stamps or not. That was not inhumane. Go ahead.
Well, let's be specific. Like I said, I'm glad you kind of clarified that last point about the food stamps and stuff like that. If you come here illegally under the floodgates, those people are fed and housed. But the actual American citizen is being abused and run roughshod and humanitarian at American citizens specifically. And you can't say it's not, because you could be an American, and just because you make $30,000 and you make $5 more than what the limit says, you ain't getting no food stamps. You ain't getting Section 8. You ain't getting medical treatment, you know, or your prescription stuff, because you're an American. It almost makes me sound like I'm the discriminated against white guy. You know, if you're an American in an American city, in an American country, you are homeless. That doesn't make any sense, Demetra.
No, absolutely. There's something I was gonna say. I forgot. It'll come back to me. Let me just skip down a little bit. And Queen Mommy says this is all for show political theater to get richer. Absolutely. But again, they sell us the, you know, they make it a thing, us to think. When I say us collectively, it's America first, right? It's so patriotic. Oh, Trump don't take no mess. He means what he says, and he says what he means, right? And all this other stuff. Trump is going after the money, you know, like all presidents do, go after the money. They don't care about people. If you think they care about people, then why is unemployment rate so high? Why is a lot of things going on here? If they really care about people, it's not about people. It's never about people. It's always about money and power. That's it. Money and power. And they give you symbolism to get you on the train of thinking, oh, you know, Trump is that he's, you know, about time I voted for this, right? You see a lot of people say, I voted for this. It's like Trump going over there and seizing an oil tanker in the whole country is not going to benefit you as, you know, a Joe Schmo American. That's not going to benefit you at all. It's going to benefit him, right? And of course, as I said, there's a lot of other countries that are like, wait a minute, whoa, what? You're doing what? You're taking a whole country? So a lot of them are thinking, okay, now this is not good, because we can't allow the United States to think they could just bulldoze over whatever they want, right? They could leave a lot of people open. Again, you've heard him talk about Mexico, Greenland, and some other places. It's like, well, in Panama Canal, hasn't talked about that in a while, but I'm sure it's still on the table somewhere. So yeah. Cindy says, I got kicked out of nursing school for saying hospitals create the addict. Yeah, and in a sense it does, because they do prescribe certain drugs that are addicting. And a lot of people do get addicted to those because they're trying to get rid of the pain, right? Whatever pain they have might be a little bit more than something that Tylenol could take care of. So yeah, unfortunately, yeah, the hospital's doctor, they do just say, hey, take 2 of these. And then when you get in pain again, take 2 more. And then before you know it, you're addicted. So there were no lies told. Dr. J.H. Irons, how you doing? Says pawns, rooks, bishops, knights, and king, queen. Sounds like you're playing chess there. African native says Netherlands don't follow God's law. Or Neanderthal. What? Neanderthals don't follow God's law. Yes, indeed. All right, let me skip down just a tiny bit. Patrick, how you doing? He says, why is this black cackling so what? Regards to, huh? Did your doctor prescribe you something? We need Trump to talk to your doctor. TG Hamilton, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. It says, noted. But what's in Monroe Doctrine? What's in a Monroe Doctrine approach to geopolitics for the average American household with a median income of $75,000? E4 making, he says, 30,000 sounds like nothing. Well, there's nothing in it for anybody, Americans, right? It's for complete dominance from the United States. They want to dominate the Western Hemisphere. That's all that is, right? We are the big bag wolf of the Western Hemisphere. And if you do anything that we deem to be adverse to what we're doing, then we're going to strike. That's what that is. That doesn't have anything. They'll pretend that it's American first. It's for Americans. It has nothing to do with it. That doctrine's been out since 1823, and America is no better off. Right? So.
Yeah, and real quick, another reason why the doctrine became into existence is they saw how Europe was carving up Africa. That's when the land grab in Africa was going on. And so to prevent the Western powers or the European powers from doing the same thing in the Western Hemisphere, that's where the doctrine basically originated to stop them from doing whatever. Like I think England still has a couple of colonies here, like Jamaica was an English colony, and they didn't want that stuff to spread. And that's how the doctrine kind of made the Europeans stop doing what they're doing. They weren't going to carve up Latin America like they did Africa.
Absolutely. And Sherman, how you doing? Says Black Americans should worry about Black Americans. The folks are gaming the American people. Again, love your show. Thank you. Yeah, you know what? That was going to be my end point. At the end of the day, Black Americans will not benefit by anything that Trump is doing in Venezuela at all. We as Black Americans still have bigger fish to fry. We'll still be part of the beneficiary, if you will, of benign neglect, whether it's Trump, the Democrats, or whoever it is. They don't give a damn about Black Americans. In fact, the Democrats, they're on their war horse for Venezuela, right? They have been when they were over here getting deported by Trump. Really rarely saying a word specifically about Black Americans. So you're absolutely right. We still got things to do. You know, it's good to know, right, about world affairs and things like that, to be abreast of those things. But at the end of the day, Trump going over there and seizing an oil tanker in a whole country is not a net benefit for Black Americans at all. In fact, under the Biden administration, Venezuelans got more than a lot of Black Americans got. They got things specifically. There in Chicago, we saw one of them stand up at a city hall meeting, tell a Black American, that's why you're not getting no money. You know, they got houses and all kind of stuff. But so, yeah, that has nothing to do with Black Americans. And we should not be, you know, we should be concerned, right, and pay attention, but we still got to take care of our own.
Yeah, and I want to hit this point real quick. You guys also remember that when Maduro election was so disputed, Biden let in 600,000 Venezuelans under the temporary protection status. They came under TPS. And of course, Trump recently stopped that. So now that we control Venezuela, he might be sending them back and saying, okay, your country's free now, go back. So depending on how you look at this, it could be a plus or it could be a minus. I mean, maybe some of these people now could start going back to their free country, because a lot of them filed under the duress and lack of freedom and all that other stuff that was going on.
Absolutely. And Brother Jonell says, can America afford the negative consequences that will bloom from taking the country on lies and gangsterism? Imagine if this was done to America. There was a harvest for evil. There's a harvest for evil, rather. Revelation 18:4. Yeah, no, there no one would ever dream of or imagine doing that to the United States. Of course, we've heard that there are times that people attempted, but then, you know, there's a backstory behind all of that. 9/11 is one of them. We know what they told us, but then there's some things that's like just don't make any sense, right? But yeah, there will be negative consequences. The United States have always operated in this manner, and they're going to continue to operate in this manner until the end. Of course, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad talked about the fall of America. America be in Babylon, and we're seeing that unfold right before our very eyes. And they know that. If we know that, y'all don't think they know that? So again, they think they're going to out legislate the will of God by, terrorizing everybody. They got the nerve to call people a terrorist, but they run around terrorizing everybody. It's absolutely crazy. Let's see. Facts Not Feeling says there was no homelessness in Venezuela because the government provided free homes for the homeless. This is why they got rid of Maduro. But remember, Maduro was not a dictator. You will see the government survives. Yes, he was a socialist and more of a leftist, from what I understand. Socialist meaning that we share, right? We share type things. But again, there's a lot of narratives going on about Maduro. Again, the one that he illegally occupied the seat of the presidency and all of that. So, but again, I think the question remains is who is the United States to tell anybody what they can do in their own country? Because let's just take this example, right? There's been speculation, and we've seen Trump say he's selling merchandise. I don't know if that really, lines up to nothing, but he's like, I'm going to be here in a third term. So in a sense, that would be him occupying the presidency illegally, right? So can another country say, all right, he in the seat illegally, we're going to go over there and snatch him and Melania and Barron up? No, I don't think so. You know what I mean? They would justify why he need, and we've heard the justification. Steve Bannon and all of them, Trump's just getting started. He needs another term. It's like, is this man going to be breathing for another term? I don't know. So, yeah. Let's see. Let me skip down a little bit. Who else haven't I seen on here? Carlette. He says, I'm a Gulf War veteran. Yes, you said that. And I thank you for your services. I was homeless on the streets for 2 years. Now, that's inhumane. That is inhumane. Where are the planes flying above to help her? That's inhumane. And see, nothing is more inhumane. Well, there are some things, but this is like really inhumane than a veteran who served her country, did all the things, and then come back here and have to sleep on the street. That's inhumane. Ain't nobody gonna be dropping in from zip lines for her, huh? But in Venezuela, they gonna do it, and anywhere else where there might, be some benefit or some oil.
And you guys got to think about this. When the United States gets involved in nation building, do you know what the problem with nation building is? It takes resources out of your country and puts it into their country and, builds their country up while yours is falling apart. This is where all the money's going.
Yes, and Queen Mommy, thank you for your service as well. Yeah, but they've been doing that, right? We come over here and get this almighty dollar, if you want to call it that at this point, and we send it back and we build up where we're from, and we say adios. It's been real, right? So yeah, there's a lot going on with that. Greater achievements. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Avenger Ancestors. How you doing? Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Buckhorse. So you're talking to somebody else, but how you doing? I saw that you were cooking. Going down at African Native says America is by far not stronger than the rest of the world without the help of insiders. America's a bully, but they say, my mom used to say the bigger they are, the harder they fall. It's gonna happen. They know it.
Right, but here's the problem. See, I want you guys to think, and I'm gonna, I guess, justify this with the Somali situation. Do you see? Think about this. Look at all these immigrants that leave their country, the Haitians, the Venezuelans, the Asians, the Chinese, whatever, and they come into this country with their racism and their culture intact. We're the FBAs are the only group that was not accommodated, right? We had to be forced and made to be Americans. That's why we're entrenched here, right? Now, of course, I agree. We were here way before that too. Let's not get into all that. But these people come here, and that's the problem. They believe America is this omnipotent thing where there's gold streets that we ride on. And Dimitri, we've been overseas a lot. Sometimes you'll talk to these people and they make it seem like America is this golden great place. And I remember I was somewhere and I was listening to this guy tell me about America, and because I guess he saw it on TV. And oh man, America, you could do this. America, you could do that. And I'm listening to him as an American. And I'm like, really? I mean, he made me seem like, dang, I need to get back there for some reason, and I'm from there and I don't see that. But this is why America cannot be defeated, because just like these Somalis and everybody else, in their minds, white American is right. They will sell their souls to immolate white people, to downgrade black people. That's why we can't unite with these people when they come here. They don't want to even associate with us as black people because they were told not to associate with us. They were told, well, basically their thing is, the closer I am to whiteness, then mass is going to give me a bone and treat me better than the black person. This is why America is omnipotent and we won't be defeated, because these people actually believe this is the land of milk and honey and whatever. They will sell. Think about it. I'm an American. I love the Dominican Republic. Demetra knows that. I love the Dominican Republic. I love going overseas. I love Japan. I would never give up my American citizenship ever to go live in another country. I might live there, but I will never give up my citizenship. When I see people that come from other countries that give up their citizenship to be in this country, I thank them that they want to do that. But just like I tell my Haitian friends, take your ass back to your country and go build it. Go fight for your country. This is why America will never be defeated, because these people have a mindset that says America is it.
Yes, indeed. Repentant Judah, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. America will be defeated. It's divine. It's God has the final say. So it's nothing.
Well, in that aspect, I'm talking about in general as regular people.
I think too, and Donovan, maybe we can have a conversation about this, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. Haiti and a lot of other places in the world, they have the same issue that Black Americans have. There's a few of them. One, we are colonized mentally by the oppressor. We think white is right, white is better, white man's ice is colder, and things like that. Another thing is the United States has had a hand in destabilizing, whether it's in Haiti or even in Black America, right? Every time we try to get up and do something, here comes, white supremacy or whatever. So we all have the same problem. They hate us, whether we're here in the United States, but they won't leave us alone, because we know that that not only is Black American unity a threat, but Pan-African, right? Pan-Africanism, the idea of it is a threat, which is why you don't have a Gaddafi here anymore, because he was like, hey, Black folks, Africans all over the world, right? This is the ideology. Let's go ahead and get together. We're going to get rid of this dollar. We're going to, try to do something with this gold and a whole host of things. Ibrahim Traore, he's getting his people together, and they using the Negro, right? They tried to anyway to say, oh, he's horrible, because they always send one of us. Same thing with that of Marcus Garvey. Agent 800 was the first Black FBI agent used by that of J. Edgar Hoover to infiltrate UNIA under Marcus Garvey and, find some dirt. And they did. He went to jail for $25 mail fraud because he put a steamship that he wanted to buy on a postcard to investors. And they said, oh, you were trying to defraud investors. Of course, that's what happened with UNIA. Of course, we can go throughout history, Black Panthers, and just everything you can think of. They have used Black people to do that, right? So with that, there's always somebody Black, whether you're here in the United States or abroad, that's willing to help destabilize Black progress. So when we realize that is the case, and we move a little bit more strategically, and we realize that there are power, or is, I guess, power in numbers, then things will look a little bit differently. But at the end of the day, white supremacy, America could do whatever they want up to a point, right? But they got an expiration date, as Student Minister Ishmael Muhammad said today, that their time is up, and they're trying to extend the expiration date, but it ain't up to them. It's up to God Almighty. All we got to do is do what we were told to do, right? Up your mighty nation, accomplish what you will, do for self and all of that, and let God handle the rest. Because as I've learned, especially recently, you can't have faith in God and then try to do his job, right? If you got faith in God, you say, hey, God, you do your job, I'm going to go do mine. And that's the way it's going to work.
Walter X? Am I here? Is that Walter X? What's going on here? Has he taken over the show? What's going on?
Right. I mean, I'm just saying, all we got to do is just do what we're supposed to be doing. We've been told that we were supposed to be getting about the business of Black America for a very long time. And again, we get sidetracked in a whole host of things. And, you know, as I always talk about the Communist Manifesto, even with this whole thing in Venezuela, Americans are being told that this was for you. You have to pick a side, right? Again, with that, the Democrats don't like it, but the Republicans are handling business. And in the meantime, you as an American can't go buy a tomato or a grape without trying to have to finance it, right? Or having a tariff or something like that put onto it, right? So if Americans, especially Black Americans, but everybody get about the business of saying, hey, I'm checking out of politics because it doesn't benefit me. Or if I'm going to be involved in politics, I'm going to get somebody in there that's going to do the interest of us, not the oligarchy. Because at the end of the day, regardless of what you believe, whoever's in office, whether it was Biden, Obama, Trump, whoever, they don't care about you. They care about enriching themselves and their homies and world dominance and everything else, right? Of course, y'all heard, can't think of the guy's name, but he's from Israel. And he basically said, along with Benjamin Netanyahu, hey, y'all need to stop the Americans from having free speech. You got to monitor what they're saying on the internet, because this internet, people are spreading the truth. People are getting outside of the propaganda. They're getting other information. They're saying, hey, I know what you heard, but this is what it actually is. Now, imagine if we had the internet when they being Obama was trying to do or did what they did to Muammar Gaddafi. We would have had different information. Now, look at the difference between Ibrahim Traore and what they were trying to do. And that internet said, hell no. And people organized from the United States all the way to the motherland and other places like hands off. Hands off of Ibrahim Traore. We wish you would, right? This whole thing will go up. So with that, of course, they want to stop free thought and people from sharing the news you can use on the internet. So that's why we got to wake up and really start to pay attention to a lot of things. And I'm going to say this. I've been asked about Jamal Bryant's, stance on his wife's dress. And you know what I said? Respectfully, I said, I don't give a damn about what his wife got on. She want to look like a street walker from Bissonnette, MLK Boulevard, and he got her on a string. I don't give a damn. You know why I don't give a damn? Because Jamal Bryant's wife's dress don't put food on my table, and it don't take none off either. I don't give a damn. That's a distraction. And as I said to somebody, I wouldn't be surprised if they put that out there, because they know one thing Negroes gonna do is eat the low-hanging fruit. I want his wife. Do you go to the church? If you don't go to his church, then why do you care? Right? I don't care about Jamal Bryant or any of that. You know why? Because Jamal Bryant is a charlatan, and he is a tool to keep the rest of us on the plantation, whether it's in the church, whether it's in the Democrat Party or whatever it is. Damn his wife and her dress. That's what we should be saying. We should not be spending a week talking about I want to say a stronger word, but I ain't going to do that because I'm a lady. Talking about her dress. Or anybody else that's, this is, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, we Black folks, we caught up in sport and play. They know how to throw something out there. And not too long ago, y'all, not me, maybe not y'all spent a month talking about Diddy and 50. Diddy is in jail. He's in prison. He's doing this time. But then here comes 50 Cent. He make a documentary. And what do? Oh, well, did you see the documentary? Oh, well, 50 said this. I don't give a damn what 50 got to say. I don't give a damn about what he got to say about Diddy. I don't give a damn about Diddy, because when Diddy get out, he gonna have more money than all of us put together. Okay, he gonna be in like Flynn. And what do? We spend all this time talking about what that man is doing or what anybody else is doing. So when somebody comes to us and talk about, did you hear? But like, no, I didn't. And if I did, I don't give a damn. You know what I give a damn about? I give a damn about Black America getting from under the bottom of this totem pole. I give a damn about us not giving away 97% of our $2 trillion every year. I give a damn about this Black man and this Black woman getting together and raising up the Black family. That's what I care about. I don't care about this trivial stuff, because that stuff comes from the enemy to keep us distracted, because they got our number. They know all they got to do is throw something out there. Oh, they talking about organizing. Okay, let's get something out there and let these Negroes fight over a dry ass bone with no meat on it. So that's what I care about. All that other stuff. And we at 2026, y'all, as y'all been told by Dr. Claude Anderson and everybody else, that we are out of time. We are out of time. So in 2026, we got to focus on us. I'm not saying we don't care about other people. I did a video on the African Diaspora News channel yesterday, and I saw a lot of people got mad because I said, stop talking about Black Americans are fighting white supremacy. We're getting our asses whooped. Okay. And I don't care. As I said, I'm going to make a t-shirt. You ain't mad at me. You mad at the truth. See, because we sit up and pat ourselves on the head. Ooh, we doing this. We ain't doing ish. We ain't doing ish. But talking about things, they say people with who are trying to do something, they don't talk about people. You talk about ideas. You talk about things. You talk about moving the needle. You don't talk about what this person's doing, what that person is doing. We should say, I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn what they doing. If they're not writing me a check or they're not moving a needle for Black Americans, I don't give a damn. That should be the slogan for 2026. I don't give a damn. Seriously.
Now, between you and Jessica Jackson, what is this angry sister thing going on? You know, you guys, I think we've been spending too much time together. I think a little bit of me is rubbing off on you because I'd be angry on here doing all this other stuff. But no, you're absolutely right. And again, I've been reading you guys' comments in the chat there, and you guys are hitting a lot of great points. Do us a favor, hit that like and share button, share it on your platforms, your groups, and let's get this message out. This is a very important message. It's 2026. We are out of time. And Demetria, we were predicting that for a long time. We were telling people we don't have time for if Kamala Harris is Black or not or whatever, you know, all this other stuff like that. We are out of time, you guys. We're out of time. You know, we have to worry about us now. Delineation is a good thing, you know, because isn't it funny now? Have you guys noticed that the major news media is now deciphering a Somali from a Black person in America, and they're starting to do all that stuff? I mean, all of this stuff is coming toward the end. This is why I know we are coming to the end. It's at a wrap now because people are waking up so much. And isn't it strange, Demetria, that when Black people finally start waking up and saying, we've been voting like this and not getting a damn thing for our vote, and everybody else is coming here with this BS narrative that they came here with $2 in their pocket and pulled themselves up by the bootstrings, which is a total lie. And here we are seeing what is going on, and it's at the end now do we realize that we had the power all along within ourselves if we would just unify and stay focused on what the plan is, be it Marcus Garvey, be it the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, be it this, be it that. Only at the end do we realize the power that Black people have. Look at all of these people calling for Black people to help. Oh, Black people, we need you guys with us. Oh, Black people, why aren't you guys speaking out? Real quick, have you guys noticed that during these Somali interviews, here's one thing I noticed. Have you guys noticed they have not taken any accountability for what has happened in there, whatever? I know they had a few big ones talk about, yeah, this is that, but they're trying to throw the thing on the white woman now and all this other stuff. But here's my thing with that. I noticed the CBC wasn't behind them. They haven't come out with a statement. The Democratic Party hasn't come out with a statement. You don't see no Black electors over there in Minnesota coming out and saying anything. But yet the new Black media, we don't know what we're talking about. We're just, you know, hypothetical people just throwing stuff out there. Obviously, they're looking and they're listening to what we're saying, because more and more of you guys are waking up because you're sharing these platforms and you're having these conversations, which is very important.
And I'm going to say this too about the Somalis. Yes, there's a white woman who is at the helm of it, but Donovan, it is what it is. You know, the white woman gets a pass. We know that the white woman is above reproach. You can't say nothing to her. She's the innocent victim. I'm sure she even threw all the Somalis under the bus, right? But she was the ringleader, but ain't nobody talking about that. And as far as, you know, white America, if you will, the separating Somalis and Black Americans, they wasn't doing that up until recently. You know why? Because they didn't caught on to Black Americans fighting with Somalis and back and forth to this, that, and the other. And I said that. I said that's jumped the shark now, because now white people paying attention. Even Black Americans don't like the Somalis, but you wasn't paying attention when Black Americans say we don't like you. But it's okay for us not to like Somalis, but it's, you know, it's not okay for us not to like white people. Of course, they run around talking about, oh, you know, we're not going to feel guilty no more, white guilt, this, that, and the other. But they done picked up on it. See, they like to pick up on our degradation, and they like to exploit that, because at the end of the day, the Somalis are getting treated like Black Americans and vice versa, right? They came over here under refugee status and all that, and they got up in some, you know, a trick bag. And as I always said, the Somalis ain't getting away with that. Case in point, you ain't heard nothing about this white woman, but you keep hearing all about the Somalis. The Somalis, every last one of them that took a dime and used it for fraud. Oh, yes, they're going to pay for that. That white woman, she might be out the damn back door, and you guys don't ever know about it. You know why? Because we as Black Americans and Black people all over the world, we always fall for the tricks of the devil. We think our enemy is each other, and the devil is doing what? Jaru the Jamager got a song called Ain't the Devil Happy? Ain't the devil happy, right? Got us going back and forth, and the devil is ha, 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 ha. That's actually what he says in the song, right? The devil is laughing. He's happy. Look what I've done there. I've got this Negro from this place and this Negro from this. They fighting each other. And guess what we fighting over? Absolutely nothing. When we should be fighting together, and not even just us, right? Because the idea is the darker people of the planet, outside of, you know, a white supremacy, even if some white folks, right? We should be fighting oppression, but we not. White supremacy is the false idea of it. It's got us fighting each other, and we think we doing something. And I always ask, I know a lot of people don't like it, but again, you ain't mad at me, you mad at the truth. What are we gaining from fighting with Somalis? Somalis are going to get punished, and then what? When they all go to jail, then what? Does that make Black America better off? Are we getting any of that money? And when we get some of that money, are we going to actually build something that's going to benefit Black Americans? Because the one thing I said about them Somalis and all the fraud that they was committing, and not all of them, it was, you know, what, 80 of them out of almost 90,000 of them, you know, at least they was, in a sense, I guess, some of it was fraud, but building things. They got their own community, they got their own politicians and a whole host of other things. And we sitting up on the sideline pointing fingers. Point me to a Black grocery store, a Black American grocery store. Point me to a Black American hospital or some more Black American schools. There's some, but we should have a whole bunch of them. We should never utter the word, oh, well, you know, they won't teach us this in these white schools. They won't let us have these books. And as I always say, shut your mouth if you ain't got the book in your house. You want the white man to educate your children, and you can't go to your book cabinet and tell your children about it? Why are you asking them to educate your own children? So if we can't point to none of those things as Black America, then we don't have no business talking about nobody else. Should we be concerned? Yes. Should we pay attention? Absolutely. And again, I hear all this delineation talk. Cool. Let's delineate. But like I said, invite me to the delineation party. When we going to delineate, do something. Don't invite me to delineate and play the dozens and talk about everybody, because I'm trying to do other things. I could say that don't benefit me to sit up and talk bad about everybody. And I'm not saying some of the stuff is not deserved, but when we delineate, we're supposed to delineate and say, okay, now that we're separate, now this is the amount of money we have. This is what we need. Let's go about that. Because what did I say? I don't give a damn what everybody else is doing until we do what we are supposed to do. That's the message from here on out. So, Jonathan, how you doing? Says these dudes are talking like clowns, full of jealousy and hate and vitriol and ignorance. Well, you know what? Last year, I would have said yo mama. But this year, I'm going to say yo mama and Obama. Hope that helps. Yes, King Nova, Jaru the Damager. I mean, I don't want to say he's underrated, right? Because if you know, you know. But yeah, he said, ain't the devil happy, right? Because we fall for it, hook, line, and sinker every time. Like I said, there's a lot of things I'd rather do besides spending on the internet talking about other people. Let's talk about how we fix us. That's what a net benefit is. How do we improve? And the devil, the oppressor, they're like, they ain't gonna never do nothing because they sitting up talking about things that don't matter. Things that are Donovan, do you talk about what your neighbor's eating for dinner, or are you more concerned about what you eating for dinner?
More concerned about me. And you know how I am about, I used to love Mexican food. I don't like no Mexican food now. All my neighbors are Mexican, so I don't like Mexican food.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like me talking about what my neighbors is eating. That ain't gonna put no food on my table. I need to figure out how I'm gonna put some food on my table. You know, it might smell good or whatever it is, but it still doesn't do me any good. Hey, brother Samuel, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, King Nova says your mama and her mammy or your mammy's mammy, all that, right? You know, because like I said, you know, people coming on here, but again, they're part of the problem. They're a distraction. We on here talking some good stuff, talking about how we progress as a people, and they on here just they you know what though? That's why I said I'm not really too big on blocking people unless they really acting a donkey, because some people are just ignorant and they don't know, right? They need more information, they need to get the knowledge, and then when they get a little bit more knowledge, they say, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't have typed that," right? Yeah, maybe I am indoctrinated with foolishness. You know what I mean? Because I'm thinking. And I don't know what it would take for me to go on somebody else's live feed or comment section and just crash out. You know, if I don't like what you're talking about, I'm just going to keep on scrolling. But those are people like that. They're a distraction. And a lot of times they just don't know that they are because they're used to operating in ignorance. But that's okay. They stick around long enough, they're going to learn something. I promise you. So, yeah, Brother Salam, how you doing? He says, no cat for you.
Oh, I think he's talking about T'Challa that usually jumps up here and stuff like that. Yeah.
I didn't know which cat he was talking about. Hey, Brother Reggie. How you doing? He says, at work, so can't hang long. Demetria, heard about your father passing. My sincere condolences, sister. Yes, indeed. And thank you. And again, my condolences to you. I know you lost your father last year as well. The boy, I tell you, there's a lot of things you can go through in life. But losing a parent, both of my parents are gone at this point. The boy, I said this, boy, I tell you this. After that, I ain't scared of nothing. When I say nothing, when I said my heart don't pump no Kool-Aid before, oh my God, it don't pump no Kool-Aid no more, ever. There's nothing that would deter me from doing what I got. Nothing. The loss of your last parent, whoo, yeah, I'm unstoppable. I will say that. Hey, Roz, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Rich, what's going on?
Hey, Demetria, can I ask you? You know, I know we're going a little over a little bit.
No worries.
But let me ask you now that both of your parents have transitioned into the next level, and you are now the matriarch of your family. What advice would you give anybody? Because what we're seeing in our community, at least I'm seeing it a lot in our community, is that when that patriarch, that person that was the glue that kept the family together, once that person leaves, the family gets spread into the wind. What advice would you give to anybody or any families out there that are in a situation like that, where you're the matriarch or you're the next person up? Because, when these families get, to me, it's almost like the plan of the devil. When we're together as a family or a group, it's hard to break a family when they are stuck together. But when you can pick them off individually because they're not together, it makes it easier for the devil and the world to pick these people off. So now that you've moved into that position as a senior person within your family, what advice would you give?
I think it's probably pretty simple. I've always made it a goal. My mom passed at 67. My dad's mom also 67, and my grandmother on my mom's side at 77. I said my goal is to live longer than they. My dad passed at 81, so now my goal is to live longer than that. And I would just basically say, as the matriarch of my immediate family, you have to take care of yourself, right? Because I can't be of any good sound advice or strength or any of that other stuff if I'm weak. If I am weak mentally, emotionally, physically. So I take taking care of myself, going to the gym even more seriously, because I do not want anybody to take care of me unless, God forbid, or it's God's will, something happens. I want to do my best. And I try to stay knowledgeable. I would say that to everybody, stay knowledgeable, because people will come to you for advice, a sense of strength and things like that. And I will say, with the passing of my father, Sure, I've cried a few times, but I haven't cried much because I don't have time to cry. I wasn't raised like that per se. I took the death of my mom a little bit harder, both of them being hard. But I know that I am seen as a source of strength in the family. I have to call and make sure everybody else is okay. You know, there's some of my family, some of my siblings that aren't, you know, taking it as well. But we have those conversations, but we both can't be boo-hooing. You know, we can't. But so you just have to, delve into acceptance, right? A lot of people, especially with grief, it's hard because they don't accept what it is. You cannot undo it. It is what it is. As I've learned through my father, obviously he's in the nation since he was 19. Allah's timing is perfect, right? Allah is the best knower. And that is where I draw my strength. There is no mistakes. There's no accidents. There's no what if or this, that, and the other. My dad's time on this earth was plenty, but it's over and he's gone on. But he's gone physically, but he's not gone spiritually. His wisdom, his knowledge, and everything else still lives on. And so I'm able to disseminate that as well. So that's how you do it. If you have to find yourself stepping in that position, you do it with honor, and you do it with what we call our ancestors have taught us, right? We go on and we continue to teach because we are supposed to be an extension of our parents. We're not supposed to, you know, stop and wallow around. Can't go on. Don't trust me. I mean, there's some times where I do want to just kind of just, you know, because it hits me like, wow. Like the other day I said for the first time, my dad is dead. And it just kind of like, wow, I said it, you know, type thing. But it's the reality of it all. So again, I rejoice for the life that my dad had. You know what? It brings me great pleasure to hear from some of the brothers. And I should say thank you to the Antelope Valley chapter of the FOI. They showed up and showed out, helping to put my dad's janaza together. I mean, there was some soldiers. When I say Donovan seen them, they are some soldiers in every true sense of the word, right? But, you know, I don't know where I was going with that, but, you know, it's, I draw a sense of a strength from that, because I think that's what I'm trying to say. And that's why I know what I was going to say. That's what happens when you get old, right? It just does my heart good when I hear one of the brothers say, your dad put the first message to the black man in America in my hand. This book here. He says, your father put the first one of these in my hand. And that's why I'm here today. So when I hear stories like that, I'm like, wow, my dad has left his mark. My dad made a difference. And I heard it once like this from a pastor at a church I used to go to. He says, it's not the date that you were born that's important, and it's not the day that you die that is important. It's what's in the dash that will last. That dash is the life that you leave, right? You lived. What will people say about you in that dash? What did you do with that? Did you positively affect somebody? Did you leave something that they can continue to grow, right? Because that's what we're supposed to do with the wisdom and the knowledge and things. We're supposed to use those as seeds and plant them, water them, and then keep on doing it so that will live on and on and on. That's how it's supposed to work. My dad passed in 2025. His legacy should still live on and 30 at 25. You know what I'm saying? Because the premise is we keep those things alive. Those people, and when I say those people, I mean people have gone on. Their ideas don't die. The essence of who they are do not die. So yes, I saw my father be, and if you've ever seen, a janaza and the burial process of it, a lot of people will think, my God, because it's straight to the dirt. That's it. You don't have any clothes on. They wrap you in, muslin, wash your body and all that, and it's straight to the dirt. So when you see that process, when I saw it anyway, and I had to tell a lot of people that's not my dad, that's his body. But under there is not who he is, who he was. His knowledge is not under there. His wisdom is not under there. His warmness as a human. My dad, I'm telling you, my dad he had 2 broken hips, right? And by the grace of Allah, he survived them both. Got him an older one. The first one he got is because he was trying to help a woman that was getting beat up by a pimp. and the pimp slung my dad. My dad didn't weigh much, slung him, and he fell on his hip and broke his hip. Now, I tell you all that because my dad was always trying to help. Always, his life was not important when it came to being of service because that's just who he was. So those ideas did not get buried in the dirt. It was a body. That's it. So when you see that and you understand that, you don't freak out. You don't say, oh my God, that's my dad. You're okay with that. You're okay with that. So I just felt like that's important because I know people deal with death differently, but the death of my father, it actually it energized me because his death nor my mom's death and my stepfather, their deaths will have not and will never be in vain. The things that they taught will not go away with them. So I just kind of wanted to say that, but I draw my strength from obviously the Lord, right? As it is said, I said in the nation, I've heard Farrakhan say it a lot. Allah is sufficient. When you know that, and we know that God is not a man that he should lie, that is his will, and his will is perfect. What else do you have, right? You say, all right, I trust you, God. I know that you didn't take my dad to destroy me or my siblings. A lot of people feel that way. They question God. Why, God? Why? It's because it's his will. And that's it. So, and thank you, Cynthia. I appreciate the donation. Thank you.
Yes. So last question. Moving forward, 2026, what do we expect from the Demetra K and the Demetra K show?
Ooh, well, I would just say this. We, not me, but us, we're not taking no prisoners, right? When I say us, I mean all of us here in the comment section. Donovan, I'm speaking for all y'all. We ain't taking no prisoners, right? We're not making no more excuses. And again, that was something that was said about my father in the eulogy, if you will. This man did not make any excuses, right? And so we not making no excuses.
I'ma get there.
Right. Right. The stories, it was a lot of fun and stuff in the stories and stuff, but my dad didn't make excuses. And so that's the mission from 2026 on. We are not making excuses. We're not taking any prisoners because we are out of time. And we as Black Americans and anybody, we got to get our thing going on, right? Outside of the false idea of white supremacy, we've been allowing white supremacy to hold us down in every way, shape, and form forever. And it's time that we stop doing that. It's time that we say, hey, we are out of time and we are out of excuses. Let's do what we have been told to do for a very long time, right? That is the call. That is the call to action. No more excuses. Brother Samuel says the minister said it's natural to feel sorrow, but it's improper for the righteous to grieve. Yeah. You feel sorrow, yeah, but because see, one thing I would say too is I'm too old. Not old, but too old. Grieving to the way I really thought I would grieve at the loss of my father, the way I did with my mom, it would probably take me out of here. I'll be honest with y'all. Grieving takes a toll on your body. And I know that my father would not want me to endure that type of thing. And so, but I'm all right. Like I said, my dad, he did what he wanted to do to the very end. That man, when I tell you my dad died a man's man, because I would always say, Daddy, or my sister, even my brother, it's time for you to come live with us. I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. I'm like, Daddy, it's time, okay? You come live with me. Let me take care of you. I'm not there yet. And so when my dad passed, I said, all right, I get it. He's there now. And what he was saying is, I'm going to take care of myself until I close my eyes. I'm going to be a man. I don't care what I got going on, Parkinson's, whatever it is. I'm going to leave out of here a man. He was not going to relent or release his manhood to nobody. And that's what that meant. I finally understood when he said, I'm not there yet. He meant I ain't there yet. So, Freddie, how you doing? So, yeah, y'all. Sugar Unique, how you doing? Says, thank you for those words, Demetra. With both my parents being gone too, they were my heart. They are legendary to me. Their wisdom and love forever lives in me and us. Yeah. And that's how you honor them. You continue to tell of the things that they did, they said. I mean, you don't, I don't know. A lot of people I think you do your parents or anyone a disservice when you say, oh, I'm gonna miss him. Oh, I'm hurt because now it's about you, and now you rob them of the legacy that they wanted to continue by making it all about you. You know, and no shade to nobody. I ain't gonna say it because I don't want to come off insensitive, but I just was not gonna be one of those people on the internet bawling and all of that. That's just me. Maybe I don't know. Darnell, how you doing? Says, wow, I'm sorry for you losing your father. You and your family have my deepest condolences and prayers. I appreciate that. I really do. Christopher, how you doing? Arsha says, oh my God, I'm currently on a job. I missed it. It's so terribly sorry. My sincere condolences. I thank you. Yeah, I talked about it briefly. And then I didn't come back for like a week or so because obviously, right, I had to go bury my father. Mad Dog says, to be honest with you, I don't give a damn about Venezuela. We're not being well taken care of here. There you go. You know, and again, like I said, we should be concerned, right? But we're not going to be concerned to where we negate what we got going on. Donovan, who's playing?
It ain't the Dallas Cowboys. That's for damn sure.
Hey, Corey, how you doing? Yes, my father was sick. He had Parkinson's. And if you know anything about Parkinson's, you know, eventually it will take the person. So we were kind of, you know, kind of aware of that. We just didn't know when type of thing. But yeah, he was sick. He was 81 years old. 81 as a baby or whatever. But my dad, you know, he was a mechanic. I tell you, my dad has been through it all as a mechanic. Okay. And just a lot of things I can't really get into. Maybe one day I will. But a lot of the brothers, they told stories about my dad. They was like, yeah, you couldn't be no punk hanging around your daddy. So your dad was about that life. I don't know if I told y'all the last time, but one of the brothers told a story about somebody had called one of my cousins, my dad's niece, a B word, I guess, at the job somewhere. So they said, if you know anything about your dad, because he had his own shop, said he was good about cleaning his hands and stuff, and making sure his tools were clean every night, and the shop was put away just so. But then when he heard that my cousin was disrespected, said he washed his hands and he closed up the shop. He said, let's go. So they went to the diner and they said, it was like your dad would turn into Popeye. Say he wound his fist up. And then he punched the dude, and he said the dude like went flying or whatever it was. He was like, you ever call my niece no B word or whatever it is? But he said your dad was about that life. I was like, yeah, I know. So, you know, like I said, my dad was a man's man, 100%. He, as they say in some circles, there was no lace in his drawers at all. Tanya, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. And Sister Sunlight, hi once again. And Anais, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Todd, how you doing? Says Nicolas Maduro and his wife wasn't captured. They were kidnapped. Okay. A lot of people are saying that. Says, did Mr. Trump capture Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, for genocide of the Palestinian people? Now you know the answer to that. Yes, a lot of people are saying that is a kidnapping. And in a sense, it is, right? It's a kidnapping. Of course, you know, he says, well, we didn't want to tell Congress because we didn't want it to leak. Because maybe they were going to tell you, you can't do that. Like we're on recess right now, right? You got to maybe like run these things. But in all fairness, I don't know if that's the right word. Trump has not been following the rules at all. But you're right about Benjamin Netanyahu. It sounds like a lot of people in Israel, like, yeah, we ready for him to go. Right. So,
yeah. And the only reason Benjamin Netanyahu is staying in power is because he was indicted for fraud and all kinds of stuff. So the longer he's a war prime minister or whatever, he's protected. And it's not just Donald Trump that doesn't follow the rules. Obama doesn't follow the rules. All of the president, the United States doesn't follow the rules. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat. If you look at, no matter what party you believe in, if you look at the playbook, it's all the same. Ask yourself this. You vote for a person that has the same skin color as you, and they go harder for people that don't look like you, but it took your vote to keep them in the office, and they're getting rich while you're getting poor. So, you know, this is how they got us thinking, this us versus them mentality and stuff. And that isn't it at all. Donald Trump is doing, and I'm not a Trump supporter. Donald Trump is doing nothing no different than white supremacy has allowed him to do. Period. Obama did it. Trump is doing it. Biden did it. Trump is doing it. Simple as that.
Absolutely. Child, the guy says the media isn't showing the people of Venezuela reaction. He says they are preparing for war. This is mission accomplished. Who remembers what happened after mission accomplished? I'm not sure. Maybe Donovan knows what that's in regards to.
That's when Bush flew on the aircraft carrier and had that big banner and was like, "Oh, the Iraq war is over." And see, but the difference in that is there were troops on the ground. There are no troops on the ground in Venezuela. That's the difference.
Right. From what I understand as well. Mad Dog says we're big, bad United States for now. And I says this is America. They don't follow rules. Nope, not at all. But again, you know, they'll bend the knee. It's already bending. You know, believe it or not, just wait and see. Right now, I know a lot of people are upset at what's going on, but like Donovan said, all the administrations they do what they want. You know, and all of that, but it's not up to them. Brother Todd says, you just read my comment with somebody else's name. I did. It says, but that's cool anyway. May Allah be pleased with your father. I lost my parents over 40 years ago. They have been gone away longer than I've known them. Yeah, 40 years is a long time. Did I say somebody else's name? I thought I said Brother Todd. Let me see. I'm going to go back to your comment because I want to be clear. I'll give you the credit. This one here, I said, Brother Todd. Is that the comment you're talking about? Yeah, I said it was you. Maybe I was kind of like mumbling a little bit. So, you know, forgive me for that. I charged it to my mouth, not my heart. But yeah, you know, but this is the thing too about losing parents, and I don't want to seem insensitive. I hope nobody's taking it that way, because I know a lot of times when we see people grieving or, you know, somebody lose something, you usually see them doing a tornado everywhere, the Tasmanian devil, you know, they falling out, and you know, I would never. But the thing is, it's the circle of life. We're all gonna go. Right? Student Minister Ishmael Muhammad, in his message last week, he says, you know, and I'm sure he was quoting that of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Farrakhan, but you're born, you're going to die. It's, you know, unless you're David Rockefeller, and even he died after what, like 9 heart transplants? He's like, give me another.
Dick Cheney finally left.
You're going to die. Nobody can hold on to the ghost forever, right? You don't give up the ghost. Very wealthy people, and that goes to show you too, a lot of people, it's all about money. I mean, money. I mean, Trump is that 80 years old. How long y'all think this man gonna stay here? You know what I mean? He may think he's gonna live forever, but nobody gets to escape the Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper is like, I'm closing in on you. But the good news is that you know that you're gonna die. You may not know when. You got life to live. Live your life. Live your life. Do everything you were supposed to do. Do the things you want to do legally. Okay? Do those things. Don't leave any stone unturned. As Les Brown said, and he says all the time, the wealthiest place in the world is a cemetery. Because people die with dreams, you know, goals unaccomplished, and just patents, all kind of stuff. They take that with them. Because when they were alive, they made excuses. Oh, I wish I will, I could, I would, but I can't. My mama, my daddy, oh my, this hurts and that hurts. And then when it's time to, you know, go on to wherever they going, now they want to live life. Oh gosh, you know, if you seen or heard of people knew they were dying and they just like, wait a minute. What's a movie, Donovan, years ago? Heaven can wait. Heaven can wait a minute. Hold up. You say I'm doing what now? People get, you got 3 months. Wait a minute. But I got like 30 years, you know, worth of stuff left to do. But the rub is you were supposed to be doing that anyway. Right? We don't know the time. Most of us don't. So get after life. Make it count. Say when it's time for you to go, man, I did that. Yeah. No regrets. I did it all. That's the goal.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Let me read old school J23. He says, this world is about to go to war everywhere in the next 4 to 12 years. I'm going to have to disagree with you on that. And I'm going to tell you why. In the United States, the most powerful country in the world, the greatest military that we ever have seen, almost $1 trillion military budget that we are not engaged in a physical war with troops using these $1 trillion weapons. I disagree. And I disagree. Why? Because in the United States, we can't even get American children, young folks, fit enough to even qualify to go into the military. These kids are not built like the baby boomers, like the Generation X, the last of the old school, new school thing. These kids aren't built like that. It's not going to happen. And if America did go to war like that, we would lose. We would lose because our kids are not built like that. I'm talking about hand-to-hand combat type stuff. Our kids are out of shape. Let's just be real about it. Our kids are obese. They don't have an attention span. The military, within the military itself, and I'm going to tell you that. I live right near a military base. We don't have it. We don't have it. That is why we are so reliant on technology and just these mass bombs that just take out everything, because the quality of people that we have, just isn't there. Let's just be real with ourselves. I mean, I disagree with you. I could be wrong. I doubt it, but I disagree. But, if it does happen, we're in trouble. You better hope it doesn't happen, because America is in trouble. But like I said, the downfall of America, a downfall of any country, is mostly within.
It's going to be a lot of twerking on the front lines. Ow, ow, ow. It dropped a bomb on me, baby. In all seriousness. Yeah, Brother Samuel says, Sister Demetria, did they put your father straight to the dirt? Yep. Says outside of a casket. Yep. Says I think he said it leaves the spirit untrapped. Oh yeah, so it says it leaves the spirit untrapped, and the way it's done in the East, I often had thoughts of that is what I'd like to be done. Yes, it's straight to the dirt. Obviously, he's wrapped, and right before the janaza, the brothers, they wash him up with oil and water that smells good, different scents and things. And they wrap them up. What they call muslin. So it's like a white cloth, if you will, from head to toe. And then we got a chance to obviously see him if you wanted to, because they don't embalm or anything. There's no preparation at all outside of that. And so when it comes time to bury, yes, you put them in the dirt. You have them facing the east. Make sure that their face is facing the east. To kind of turn them on their side. And things like that, and prop them up on a pillow of dirt, if you will, and put them straight to the dirt, no casket, no nothing, and then they put a board on top of it, and they allow the people there, the family and friends and things, to throw dirt. You have to throw an odd number of dirt, because everything for the janaza has to be done with odd numbers, right? So if you threw dirt onto the grave, if you will, it had to be an odd number. But yes, that's the premise of it, because you're supposed to go on, right? Go back to the earth. When you are embalmed and you're in these boxes, and because when you bury you, normally they put you in a coffin, and then they put you in a cement thing, and then they put the dirt on you. You're preserved, right? They dig people up sometimes 20, 30 plus years later, and they're still kind of preserved, because that's what the embalming is about. But the premise is, no, you go back. You don't stay. You go straight back to the earth, to God all the way, if you will. So yes, that's what happened. For those who are unfamiliar with how it's done, but my dad was a Muslim through and through, right? The old school Muslim, and he's been through a lot of janazas, so he knew, and that's what he wanted. In fact, a lot of the brothers, they were thankful that we as his family honored his wishes. There's some who didn't, right? Oh, let's not do that. I'm like, hell no. My dad, this is what he would want, and this is what we're gonna do, and that's what we did. So yeah. So Brother Don says Elon's robots will be fighting the Chinese robots. They better be doing something. James, how you doing? Says, what I want to do is meet you, my lovely Sister Demetria. Says, I have a Barry White song for you, Walking in the Rain with the One I Love. Okay. I'll take it. You know what? Maybe one day we will meet. You never know. Patty Cakes, how you doing? Says videos are fake of people celebrating. I agree. I saw some fake videos. I did, because it is so weird about the AI. It's hard nowadays, Donovan, to know, right? Unless you really just paying attention. Because I saw one, people in Venezuela, they had on these Trump hats and they're like, yeah. And I'm like, nah, I know damn well that ain't real, right? And so you got to look very closely, but a lot of them are AI.
But then again, what does that tell you about people who look at AI videos and think that's the truth? You're supposed to dig deeper at that point. You know, don't just look at a video. Go get several sources and come to a conclusion. Just like when you were in school, when you had to do your book report, did the teacher say you just have to have one source? No, you had to have 2 or more sources. Then you come to a conclusion, you write it up.
Right. And Art, how you doing? He says, and Walaikum Salam, he says, I did minister. It says TM, do the janaza. Well, I should say brother Anzar from Antelope Valley, California. He did, and he did a wonderful job. He said, may Allah be pleased with him. Absolutely. Yeah. So again, y'all have seen a janaza, simple. Ain't no choir. Ain't 100 people getting up there. Oh, I miss him.
Demetria's great nephew was taking over the thing, ready to do the sermon himself.
Oliver.
Yeah, Oliver.
Yeah, and it was a beautiful thing too. They had all the men line up and stand by the body and pray and all of that. And so it was a as much as a funeral could be, right? A ceremony and all of that. So it was a nice home going, if you want to call it that. So anyway, y'all, we gonna get out of here. We'll be back here. Donovan, you coming back here tomorrow? We got to start doing our podcast as well. I got a lot of things lined up, people we need to interview. Okay, we're gonna interview Isaac Bryan's opponent that's gonna be running. And some other things. We got to get Sister Jessica Jackson back on here. Mm-hmm. Sister Tamara Johnson Sheely. We got to get her back on here.
Yep. Yeah, yep, absolutely. As a matter of fact, for you guys that don't know, I've been doing my little things for the holidays. I'm almost complete with that. And I've also still been doing my local city council things. And I'm telling you guys, every year passes by, things are getting worse and worse. You're getting these same candidates with different names that don't do nothing for you, but you keep voting them in the office. I just found out we were supposed to have I didn't just find out. I've been FOIA'd my local city about a technology center that was supposed to be built. It's been 10 years. This technology center has not been built, as everything has gone to AI. This technology center was supposed to help train young people and people who want to be technicians to fix these robots. My city has not produced one technician. I've FOIA'd the situation, and now I'm on that ass. And the city is in a panic right now because I'm going to expose all of this. And this is what I'm saying. When you guys start participating in your community where you live, you're going to see a difference. When you see those people sitting up there in Chicago, hollering and screaming and stuff, that's what you should be doing at your city council, your school board meetings, and your planning commission meetings to know what is going on within your cities. But guess what? A lot of us, I know you're busy. That is not an excuse. You have a smartphone in your hand. You don't have to physically be at the city council. You email the city, you do what you got to do. It goes in the public record and request these things. But we wait until after the shovel is gone in, the weed shop is right across the street from your house. Some of you might like that. Some of you might not. Then you want to complain, or the gas station is built right there in front of your shop, who Habib is put up in there and treating you, all bad and all this other stuff. But the point is, even though all the stuff that Demetria and I and a lot of you guys do, I still find time to look at what my city's doing and hold them accountable to it. When I contact them, I get an answer. And if it ain't the answer that I want, trust me, I will be going first thing in the morning to the city hall and saying, this isn't what I asked for. They gave me 500 pages. I said, all I asked was, where's the technology center, Demetria? They sent me 500 pages of the agreement. I know what the agreement is. Didn't answer my question at all. And this is why you got to be tenacious in your city. You're the boss. They're not the boss. You're the boss. I want what I want. It's a simple question. Get me the answer. I'll leave it right there.
And that's right. Old School says, what's up with a minority of black women on TikTok saying don't give birth to a black son? To having a black son is evil in this world. I mean, like you said, they're the minority. And how they know they're going to give birth to a black son, right? Do they get a choice in the matter? But we not paying attention to them, right? Everybody is not going to make it. Everybody's not going to come along. And if that's how they feel, they don't need to come along. Let them go and have a son with Zaddy. And then when he have them tied up in the basement somewhere, then they're going to be trying to come back talking about, well, and don't you love that when you see them get on the internet talking about, oh, he's beating me. Oh gosh, she's taking all my money. And he be the white man that's like, but not too long ago, you was up here, peacocking with your white husband, talking about how wonderful he is, I'm with this white man, he treats me this, that, and the other. And then you get on here talking about you hiding under the bed, scared. He's looking for me. And we're like, what do you want us to do about it, right? So yeah, we don't focus on them. And I'm glad that's not on my timeline at all. That was another comment. Let's see. Oh, Corey said, where's your brother Walter? He's around. He said he's going to come back as well. So yeah, he's going to come back when I told him, where we are, right? But he says, yeah, I know I need to come back. Like, yeah, we've been waiting for you to do that. So as soon as he does, Tahada says, yeah, I got to interview you. Okay, well, hear me out. Well, we down for the interview. Right? There's a lot of interesting people out there. Just let me know what you want to talk about. We'll interview you. We're going to ask you some questions. Anyway, Africanator says, Brad does not joke around. Okay. That's the ultimate FAFO right there. Right. And I'm like, where's your pride? Y'all get on here talking about, be running through the woods. He's after me. Like, who are you telling?
Wait. And then you got to fall. Right.
This is not the first time he's done something to me. But then you talk about how bad the black man was, huh? And Brad don't play. Brad like, yeah, that Texas Chainsaw Massacre ain't got nothing on me. You want to play 12 years a slave? I mean, I wish them sisters get out safely, but I'm just saying. I don't know. Anyway, love and appreciate it. Right, Miss Sweets, Jason and Mike, you ain't lying. They the triple OG, Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers, right? Let me get out of here before we get in trouble. Peace.